Direct from Kansas City, it's Comic Book Late Night with Captain Logan! Featuring brand new comic book reviews, thoughts on comic news, obscure character of the week, and a little something from the comic vault. And now, here's Captain Logan!
Hello everyone, welcome once again to Comic Book Late Night. I'm Captain Logan. I hope you got the memo. Today is Casual Batman Thursday. That's right, Casual Batman Thursday. The rule is you can wear anything you want to as long as it has Batman on it. That's why I'm not wearing a suit tonight. It's Casual Batman Thursday. Be sure and tell your friends. Tonight we're going to do a lot of Batman stuff. Got a lot of Batman infused in our show, but there's also a little bit of X-Men because tonight's special guest is ShadesAt Knight, and you can't have ShadesAt Knight on without talking a little bit about X-Men. ShadesAt Knight does a lot of really fantastic fan edit videos. He makes a lot of really cool music videos and things like that, but he also does a lot of really fantastic reviews, and he was recently on Who Reviews the Reviewers, and he took 4th place. Fantastic guy, really excited about having him on the show, so I'm going to do an interview with him a little bit later. First, I want to talk a little bit about Red Robin. Yes, the superhero, but more the restaurant. And if you don't have Red Robins around, Red Robin is actually a restaurant. It's a place where they serve gourmet hamburgers. And a lot of people who live in places that have Red Robins sometimes make fun of the superhero Red Robin because of course he's the name of a hamburger place. And it occurs to me that it would be really odd if the DC Universe had a lot of Red Robins, because I haven't yet heard anybody in the DCU talk about Red Robin, but if they had them, it seems to me like people would take Tim Drake a lot less seriously than they do right now, right? Like, seems like he'd be hanging out with Batgirl, and anytime anybody was eating a hamburger, she'd be like, "Yum!" So yeah, that can't be great. That can't be great for Tim Drake, assuming they actually have Red Robins in that universe. And then I was thinking about this a little bit, and I was like, well, I wonder if there are any other restaurant chains that also happen to be superheroes. Restaurant chains that are also superheroes. And I started looking around, and I couldn't find any, and there's a really good reason. Because they'd all sound really bad. I started looking around, and the first thing I noticed is if we had superheroes that were also restaurant chains, a lot of them would be more colors. So, of course, one of them is Red Robin. Back to the color thing again with superheroes. So you'd have Red Robin, but you'd also have Red Lobster. And it seems like Red Lobster would be the butt of a lot of jokes too, right? You know, he's got a whole seafood thing going on, and it seems like he would especially get made fun of a whole lot back during when the oil spill was a big deal, because it seems like, you know, he'd show up, and then all the superheroes would be like, "Oh man, we can't let Red Lobster fight with us because he's about to get really expensive. We just can't afford him." And then I thought, well, you'd also have White Castle, you know, the superhero who's both royalty and cheap. And then I thought, I started thinking, well, what female superheroes would you have that were also restaurants? And the only one I could think of sounded really sexist to me, like Chick-fil-A. No, that doesn't sound good. So I was thinking about this, and then I was like, well, what about supervillains? Like you'd have maybe Burger King. It doesn't sound bad. It's better than Condiment King. Superhero teams. Would you have any superhero teams? I started thinking about it, and the only thing I could think of would be a team that would be spearheaded by a superhero who couldn't come up with a good name, so he just calls himself Denny. His real first name is Denny, and he's headquartered at the Waffle House. That's where his lair is, and then he starts a Justice League kind of team, the Justice Breakfast Club, if you will, the JBC, which is headquartered at the International House of Pancakes. Yeah, there's a really good reason why superheroes and restaurant chains don't generally mix. Anyway, I've got a really fantastic show for you tonight. Like I said, going to have Shades at Night on a little bit later. Going to do, of course, some comic reviews. Got a few new ones for you tonight. Going to do a brand new segment. Lots of fun stuff. First, here we go with brand new comic book reviews. Oh, I just love casual Batman Thursday. What's that? Oh, you don't have a Batman shirt or anything like that? I'm sorry, I guess you're just going to have to wear a suit and tie. But don't worry, you've got plenty of time before next casual Batman Thursday to, get prepared. Hey, let's go ahead and do some comic reviews, shall we? And we're going to start with Star Trek Infestation number 2. This one came out last week, but I had so many books to review, I decided to save it for this week. What started out as a fun Star Trek zombie adventure, albeit not a real thickly plotted one, degenerates here into a quick wrap-up. This infestation thing is quickly looking like a pointless gimmick rather than an event, although I guess since that's sometimes exactly what events are, IDW is just following the formula and running with it. Like I said with the last issue, I like the stylized art and muted colors here, the mix of classic Star Trek with modern zombies, but it kind of stops feeling like a horror comic and goes to a really hokey sci-fi place. Now, yes, it's Star Trek, so the zombies should have a sci-fi explanation, but a virus somehow spawned from a robot its creator was just trying to look more human is just silly, especially in the Star Trek universe where making robots into humans doesn't seem like it would be that hard. And the problem is solved just as you'd expect. McCoy comes up with an antidote, puts it in a hypospray, finds a way to get it into the air, and cures everyone on the planet. I do like the twist at the end that everyone, though cured, is still stuck looking like the undead, but the story isn't about the characters. Nobody learns anything, nobody makes any tough choices. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy could have ultimately been any trio of heroes in the same situation, a leader, a science guy, and a doctor. There's more to these characters than that, but not here. Now don't get me wrong, I would have been fine with just a crazy fun romp if it had been a good time, but this is just uninspired and uninteresting. Maybe I'd like it better if the cover, there are different variants, but mine's cover A, didn't have a way cooler plot going on than what's in the actual issue. Giant zombie tribbles that multiply whenever you hit them with phaser fire? Yeah, come on, you can't put zombie tribbles on a cover and not have zombie tribbles in the issue. Let's go on to Brightest Day number 21. Oh, the plot thickens. The White Ring seems to have killed off Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and Aquaman. Now we have this epic battle between Martian Manhunter and Decay, who keeps showing Manhunter hallucinations of his world and his family reborn, casting herself as his wife and trying to convince him that he's gotten her pregnant. I can't talk a lot about this issue without giving major stuff away, so I'll just say that there's a big pattern happening with the heroes who have been brought back from the dead, and the rest of the superhero community has taken notice and is pretty worried about it. The big question is, why bring these heroes back to life if you're just going to take them away again? The issue showcases some of the most dynamic artwork in the series I've seen yet, and one of my favorite two-page spreads. Only 3 issues left, and it's still impossible to tell exactly where this is going and how it will end. Having been on board with Brightest Day from the beginning, I love that I still can't call it. Alright, let's look at Batman Beyond, number 3. The end of this story arc, Batman and the Justice League work together to take out the Matter Master. This is very much that learn to work as a team message, but it's not laid on too thick and things don't come together too cleanly at the end. The League has been trying to get Terry to join, and he finally accepts on a provisional basis, and he lays out his own ground rules so as not to be controlled by the League or let them venture too far too often in his own jurisdiction. The best moment in the book is when he's laying out those provisions and Bruce is listening, unhappy that he's decided to join the League, and after Terry is finished, he says, actually, those are pretty good conditions. Naturally, the Matter Master is put out of condition, though I won't give away exactly how. He still has a point about how superheroes don't pay enough attention to the innocent bystanders who get in the way of their action when they're causing property damage or just unknowingly harming people, like what happened to him by simply using their powers. It kind of reminds me of a Star Trek Next Generation episode where the Federation's use of warp drive was disabling a whole region of space. Terry finally has the chance to deliver the counter-argument. While this guy has been so obsessed with revenge and preaching against superheroes for harming more than they help, he's got the power to transmute matter. He could be doing all kinds of good with this power in his remaining days. If you'll recall, he's also dying. But instead, he's taking hostages at malls and trying to kill superheroes. At first, I wasn't sure about this arc, but now that it's all said and done, it's quite solid, with good action and really interesting commentary on both sides of a moral debate. There are also some pretty heavy seeds cleverly planted for the future, both about Terry's girlfriend Dana and Dick Grayson. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about Powers number 7. I had actually never read Powers before, and with the news out this week that FX is going to do a Powers pilot, I decided to go ahead and take a look. It's a brand new story arc, and the first thing I wanted to mention is how smart they were advertising this issue, because the very top of it, it says, all new story, new format, more pages. And that immediately makes me interested, especially if I was already thinking about getting it anyway, because of course, okay, it's $4, so you get more pages, so that's nice. And it's a brand new story arc, and so it claims to be a good jumping on point, and it in fact is. I've never read this before, and had no trouble following the story. I was entirely engaged, and there's a lot of story here. Frankly, as I was going along, I thought maybe it was going to be a one-issue story, and it indeed does continue into, will continue into the next issue. But I'm reading this, and it just keeps going, and it's very thick with plot. So you have your police officers who. The basic premise of Powers is you've got your police officers who work in a city teeming with superheroes and superpowered people, and they solve crimes that have to do with the powers, as they call them, the superpowered people. And this issue is all about the gods of a superhero universe, which is really cool. And you've got all these superpowered people who claim to be the ancient Greek gods, and one of them has died, and so now the cops are trying to figure out who did it, and they're going throughout the whole community of gods, the whole pantheon of gods, if you will, trying to figure out who did this. And what's really fun is kind of like a fable or a fairy tale. Each time they go to a god, that god knows a little bit about something, and then sends them to another god who gives them a little bit more of the puzzle, and then goes to another one, he gives them a little bit more of the puzzle. And while you're doing this, you get to meet all these gods and see what they're like in this universe. I like the way they talk. They want everyone to respect them, and so they talk above everyone. And I don't want to give too much away about it. It's a really great mystery. It's really interesting. There's a lot of really good humor in this. It is, of course, being of Marvel's Icon imprint. It's an adult book. There are some F-bombs and some things like that. But it's not too obtrusive. And I really enjoyed it. And will probably at least read the next issue to see where this goes, because I was entirely engaged by it. Okay, that's it for comic reviews. Now on to news. So, as I mentioned, I decided to go ahead and review this new issue of Powers because FX is indeed producing a Powers TV show. They're making a pilot, and it looks like it's probably going to get picked up and go to series. And this is really great. This is a really smart idea. They're basically looking at AMC's Walking Dead and going, "Oh, that was popular. Let's do another another independent-esque comic book series and see how it does." People are wanting those right now. Here's what I really love about that. What another network might do would be to say, "Oh, we need zombie shows." But FX was smart enough to go, what we need is to see what's going on in comics that nobody's tapped yet. What's that series that not everybody knows of that we can make popular through a TV show? I think it's fantastic. We're looking for untapped potential in things that haven't been done yet. Not another reboot, not another knockoff, but instead a new, fresh thing that's been around in comics, but that we haven't got to see in film or television. And I think it's just a perfect network for that show. I'm sure it's gonna be like NYPD Blue or one of those other type cop shows in a city of superheroes. I think it's a great idea. I hope it's as good as Walking Dead, and I'm really excited about it. So, especially now that I've read, this issue of Powers, because I've always been kind of interested in it, but I never picked it up. And now I'm going to go back and read it, because it seems like it's a fantastic premise, and I picked up one issue and went, wow. So, anyway, I really recommend current Powers, and watch the show when it happens, because I bet it's gonna be really cool. It's on the right network. Everything seems to be coming together, and it looks like they've got the right showrunner for it. It's somebody who's worked for, in fact, NYPD Blue, among other things like that. I just wanted to mention that USA Today has this really great article this week on Francis Manapul, so go ahead and check that out. It's kind of about his history with comics and how he's really booming right now with Flash and everything, and his kind of personal history and all of that. And I found it pretty interesting, so check that article out. And New York's Museum of Comics and Cartoon Art is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year with a Will Eisner with a Will Eisner exhibit. So check that out if you happen to live in the New York area, and that's going on. I've always wanted to go to that. It seems like a really neat place, and I'm glad something like that exists. We should have a museum for comic art. So so there's that, and then finally, I just wanted to mention that there are actually 2 Bat books ending this week. Azrael is done, and Batman Confidential is done, which is sad in one way and not real sad in another way. Like, I've not read any Azrael, but I've been hearing fantastic things about it. And Batman Confidential, I've loved the parts of it that I've read, and I keep thinking, hey, I should probably start reading that book again. And now it's done, so I'm not going to get to. So I don't know, like, I'm not real sad about it, because I haven't been reading either of these books, and I'm the one that's been complaining, hey, there's too many Bat books, and there's too many good Bat books, and I want to read them all. So, you know, now there's 2 down, and they're not like the, you know, obviously they're not, you know, some of the best books naturally, because they're, you know, they're not selling enough to stay around. But I mean, again, I don't know how well either of them were, because I wasn't reading them as they got canceled. But anyway, so those are done. But naturally, of course, never fear, there's plenty of Bat books. For more news in the comic world, be sure to check out Comic News with Duke and Manos on Duke Loop's 1993's channel. And now it's time for a brand new segment. I'm really excited about it. It's called The Comic Grill. The Comic Grill is a brand new segment I'm going to be doing on the show with my special guests, and tonight's special guest is ShadesAt Knight, who has the wonderful privilege of being the first person to go through the Comic Grill, so we'll see how it goes. Shades is a fantastic YouTuber. He makes really great fan edits, like I mentioned earlier, really fantastic music videos. He's new to the world of reviewing, but he's fantastic at it. Took 4th place in Who Reviews the Reviewers. Shades is going to be studying film and acting in Los Angeles. He's from and lives right now in Australia. Later in the year, he's going to actually be moving to LA and study film there. And so good luck to him. Congratulations to him. And now let's find out what he has to say on the Comic Grill. Let's take a listen. And I'm here with ShadesAt Knight.
Hello.
Shades, we're going to do a brand new thing on Comic Book Late Night tonight, and you get to be my guinea pig.
Fantastic.
Today we're going to start something called the Comic Grill, where I'm going to ask a guest on the show 5 questions, and they may be related, they may not be entirely related, but they'll have something to do with the guest and what I know about the guest. So, Shades, I'm just going to ask you 5 questions and answer them to the best of your ability. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. Shades, what is, in your opinion, the best on-screen interpretation of Cyclops?
Ooh, I'd have to say X-Men the Animated Series. That's what got me a fan of the X-Men and made me a fan of the character. When you first see him, he decapitates a Sentinel. That's awesome. So, I guess that'd have to be my favorite.
Question number 2. Do you think First Class should have been a reboot?
No. I like the fact that, you know, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman's had a reboot. Everyone's getting reboots. And I like the fact that X-Men hasn't. I'd be making a different film, but I'm happy that the franchise is continuing.
Even with all the, you know, continuity mistakes that Wolverine made and all that.
Yeah. It's been messed up for a while now, so I guess they'll just roll with it.
You can't damage it any farther, I think.
No.
Shades, here's question 3. How many single-issue X-Men comics do you own?
Oh, man. quite a few. Not all of them I've gone out and bought myself. My dad was a big X-Men fan growing up, and I've had issues given to me in that. Oh man, I'm not sure if I can give a whole number. I'm guessing, I don't know, 70 or something? I don't know. Probably more.
Do you collect more trades than you do single issues?
Yeah.
I figured. It seemed like a lot of the stuff that you've talked about in your videos have been trades. This isn't one of the questions, but like you said that you started with the animated series. How long after that did you start reading comics? Like, were you reading comics of other things during that, or was that like the thing that got you into comics and superheroes as well as just the X-Men?
I had been reading Batman. I was really little. The animated series came out the year I was born. X-Men, the animated series. So when I started watching it, it had already been on for a couple of years. And I was already a fan of Batman, and I'd sort of gone out and bought different Batman comics now and again, but I'd have to say that, every kid kind of likes Batman, but X-Men definitely made me a comic book fan, and I guess it was pretty soon after I started watching it that I was taking an interest in comics, and of course, the comics were completely different to the show by that point, but yeah, it was within that same year.
So, Shades, tell me this: what is it about Cyclops? I mean, you are probably Cyclops' biggest fan.
I hope so.
Like, I hope you're okay with the fact that you've garnished that reputation, because you totally have.
Well, I'm completely fine with that reputation, because I will defend him till the day I die.
I mean, like, on Who Reviews the Reviewers, I think we were half making fun of you for, like, oh, he's doing X-Men again. Here it comes.
Yeah, which is why I didn't do it on my my final video for the show. But
you really wanted to, though.
I did. If that video was uploaded on my birthday, I was like, come on, there's got to be a higher power wanting me to do this. Anyway.
Give me a break. I'm a Cyclops fan.
Part of it is, the very first time I saw him, that Sentinel defeated Storm, Rogue, and Gambit. Then along comes Cyclops. He says a cool one-liner, blows its head off, and saves Jubilee. And I was like, that guy's awesome. So part of it was, everyone loves Wolverine, and I was like, but I like Cyclops, and I was like, I felt like the only person in the world, and I guess I guess I'm kind of like him in some ways, that I'm responsible and actually I've got to think about this.
You wear purple sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. I lead a group of mutant rebels. Yeah, I guess I could relate to him in that he was always really responsible. He always sort of took charge and things like that. And I love the fact that he's kind of the son that Xavier never had. In certain times in comics, and certain writers have kind of diminished that in certain ways, but I like the fact that he's the heir to Xavier's throne, and these days in comics he's basically the leader of mutant kind, and I think that's really awesome. I can't really put my finger on one particular thing, but I guess definitely the first time I saw him I just thought he was awesome, and I never looked back.
And Shade's last question. Just curious, how available, accessible, and expensive are American comics over there in Australia?
Oh, man. Not cheap. I don't have a local comic book shop, so I got to travel into the city. And the place I go to, they're really good, and I could probably find another place that might be a little bit cheaper, but these guys are really good. They're really professional. They've got a great-looking store. So if I want to buy I want to buy Uncanny X-Men, for example. That's $3.99 American. It's $7.50 Australian.
Wow.
Exactly. That's why, I mean, I'd love to follow more comics than I actually do. But it's just way too expensive.
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot from people in the UK, but I didn't know if it was the same there.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. But it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. I mean, considering the American and the Australian dollar is equal at the moment. I mean, I understand that they've got to charge a little bit extra because, you know, they've got to ship them out and all that sort of thing, but, you know, that's...
Yeah, and shipping overseas in the last 10 years has gotten really ridiculous.
Yeah, true. But...
That can't be all of it.
No, it's... I don't know why they're expensive. They're that expensive, but they are, you know, like, it's really great that DC are doing, you know, they're drawing the line with $2.99, but, I mean, that's $5.50 for me. So
yeah, they've drawn the line at $5.50, and it just doesn't really roll off the tongue in the same way.
Yeah, funny about that. So yeah, they're expensive. As it is, I kind of, at the moment, I'm actually just kind of following Detective Comics and Uncanny, and I'll start following Fear itself when it comes out. But yeah, I guess they're two kind of random ones to follow, but.
Yeah.
Things really expensive.
But it makes it hard to have, you know, 15, 20 issues on your pull, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I'd love to read. Yeah, I'd love to read Red Robin, and you know, I was reading Batgirl at one point because I just really like Stephanie Brown. And I was reading Green Arrow at one point as well, and obviously that's not quite the book it was when I first started. But
no. Frankly,
you know,
it wasn't
I was reading the other X-Men titles.
Frankly, Green Arrow wasn't the book in issue 2 that it was in issue 1, but that's just me.
True. But I was sort of giving it the benefit of the doubt. But
yeah.
As I did with Curse of the Mutants, and that just ended up being shocking. But so yeah, I mean, like, you know, X-Men have so many different books, and you know, I don't buy Legacy and I don't buy X-Force and all that sort of thing because I just can't afford it.
Well, Shades, thanks a lot for being on the show.
Thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody check out ShadesAt Knight's channel. He makes amazing stuff. Hey, Shades, are you starting to do more reviews now, or are you sticking back to your fan edits?
I'm definitely going to be doing more reviews. Hopefully, at least one a week from now on.
Awesome. Fantastic. Everybody check out ShadesAt Knight's channel, and thanks a lot for listening.
Thank you.
So good luck to ShadesAt Knight and all of his endeavors. Just a class act. And now, how about a trivia question? The nice trivia question is, in the spirit, who is Central City's police commissioner? If you think you know, leave your answer in the comments below. And last week's question was, what series marks the first appearance of Marvel's cosmic being known as the Beyonder? And the correct answer to that, of course, was Secret Wars, and that was answered correctly first by Tony Stark 106422. I thought, of course, there was only one Tony Stark, but I stand corrected. And now it's time for a little thing I'm going to start doing every now and again on trivia called Know Your Batmobiles. Know Your Batmobiles. I'm going to show you a Batmobile, and you get to try to guess the year that this Batmobile first appeared. Here's the Batmobile, and this Batmobile appears in an issue of Detective Comics. Is it from 1969, from 1973, or from 1980? Now, I'll reveal the answer at the end of the show, and you can learn anything and everything you'd like to know at BatmobileHistory.com. Today's Obscure Character of the Week is brought to you by Wayne Enterprises, Wayne Industries, Wayne Tech, Wayne Foundation, and any other companies or organizations Bruce Wayne may be affiliated with. No wonder no one knows his secret identity. He looks way too busy to be Batman. Have you ever heard of Bamf? Besides being the sound Nightcrawler makes when he teleports, Bamf is also the name of a cute creature Kitty Pryde makes up a story about that she tells Ileana in Uncanny number 153. He's 2 feet tall and looks a lot like Nightcrawler. He and other characters from the fairy tale show up and meet Nightcrawler when he winds up in another dimension. And we find out there's even more than one of them, including a female version, who all look at Nightcrawler like their father. The female versions are taller and look a lot more like the real Nightcrawler. The male versions are obsessed with girls and obnoxious whenever any are around. If you have an idea for Obscure Character of the Week, some fan art you'd like to show off, a question you'd like me to answer on the show, or something you'd like me to review, just leave me a personal message on Geekvolution on YouTube, and I'd love to hear from you. Today in the Comic Vault, we're going to take a look at Batman number 496. This is one of the most famous covers from Nightfall, an early issue in the arc before Bane breaks Batman's back. The Scarecrow and the Joker have teamed up and are trying to take Batman out before destroying Gotham. Scarecrow manages to use his fear toxin on Batman, and this is a fascinating study of Bruce's psyche. Batman experiences his worst fear, but rather than taking him out of commission, it actually fuels his rage, and he beats the Joker literally to a bloody pulp. His worst fear is the death of Robin, which has already happened, so rather than living a nightmare he hopes he'll never face, he relives events from the past, of course, the death of Jason Todd. We get some beautiful, vibrantly colored panels of Batman just going to town on the Joker, and I really love this period of Batman art. The themes and tone are dark, but the art isn't. Batman's wearing his bright blue cape and cowl and wearing the gray costume, the Joker in his traditional bright purple suit with tails and that classic long jaw. But Batman's also sporting a thick 5 o'clock shadow, and blood flies from the Joker's lips whenever Batman hits him. Whenever he hits the Joker, he yells Jason, until we get a full-page spread where he screams it in huge text, a brilliant action panel that just comes alive on the page. In his drugged state, you can really imagine he might finally kill the Joker. But of course, Scarecrow comes to Joker's rescue, fires a missile launcher that destabilizes the tunnel they're in, and gives Batman the choice between saving the mayor, who they've kidnapped, or stopping them. The issue ends with Batman running from the mayor away from tons of water rushing at them. And now it's time to see how well you know your Batmobiles, and if anybody lost a bet. The Batmobile is in fact from 1973. Appearing in Detective number 434, Batman drove this car while battling the Spook, who stole the car, and it's based on the Porsche 904. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. I want to thank my special guest, ShadesAt Knight. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to support your local comic book store. And if you're ever in the Kansas City area, be sure to check out Pop Culture Comics in Overland Park. That's my favorite comic book store. And remember, if you're ever on jury duty, don't flip a scarred two-sided coin, because that's just bad form. Thanks again for watching. This is Captain Logan, signing off.